Hello everyone and welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today wherever you are in this great world. We're gonna talk about XRP. And once again, this is the one-day chart. We're sitting here at $2.09. XRP is holding up very well right now. The stock market had a major sell-off, massive crash in the stock market, more than $1.5 trillion wiped out. Pray for crypto. So now that we know the stock market had a major crash, is it going to be a delayed effect in crypto? Because so far, Bitcoin has been following the stock market. So if Bitcoin was to crash down, it's going to take the rest of the space with it. I'm waiting to see where we go from here. You will see a lot more of this. This comes from Mr. Man. And you see, I gave up on XRP a long time ago, moved into other projects with the real potential for price appreciation. XRP is just dead. What you're seeing in that post is the exhaustion phase of a long-term psychological cycle. Retail investors, especially in assets like XRP, have been through years of regulatory uncertainty, suppressed price action, endless promises of imminent adoption, and watching other tokens pump while XRP stagnates. The effect is cumulative. It wears people down. This phase isn't about fundamentals anymore. It's about emotional fatigue. People sell not because they've done deep macro research, but because they're tired of waiting, tired of narratives, tired of ridicule. It's the capitulation mindset that always shows up before a system-level shift. Meanwhile, institutions are positioning quietly, building infrastructure, integrating interoperability layers. Regulatory clarity is coming into focus, and wholesale rails are being finalized behind the scenes. XRP's designed liquidity provision, trustless bridge asset, regulatory compliance was never retail focused in the short term. It was always infrastructure level, meant to move value across borders when new payment systems go live. The people walking away now are gonna regret it later. The reason the market is like this is because you beat the institutions here. You watched everything build out from a retail standpoint. Everybody that thought crypto was get rich quick soon found out when they became an XRP investor. This cryptocurrency has the tendency to go sideways for long periods of time. But when it does take off, it takes off very fast and it hits some crazy price points. That's what we're all waiting on right now. And I see that frustration all over X. Everybody's like, I gave up on XRP. I'm now in this cryptocurrency or that cryptocurrency. Those same people will be rushing back to XRP once it does break out. Once XRP hits a new all-time high, you are going to see FOMO like you have never seen before in this space. It happens every time. Nothing's different about this cycle. The only thing that I see is going forward. Where does this cycle end? I don't think it's going to end the way people think it's going to end. Everybody is still expecting major crashes and major pullbacks. I think XRP is going to shock everyone because we are on the verge of institutional adoption. 33,928% liquidation imbalance stuns XRP. So what happened is this. XRP just saw one of the most extreme liquidation imbalances in recent trading sessions, as in the past hour alone, the total liquidations on perpetual futures with altcoins added up to around $248,000. What is astonishing is that nearly all of it, about 247,400, came from traders who were shorting the asset. In comparison, long liquidations were just $728, which puts the imbalance at an epic 33,928%. Everybody thinks XRP is always going to fall. Then all of a sudden, it turns the other way. That's why when people always talk about selling at this price point to buy back at a lower price point, that works out sometimes, but it's not 100%. And a lot of times people end up buying back in at a higher price. Uphold says volatility isn't a bug. It's the price of early access. You're not late. You're just early to the next revolution. What's one thing you wish more people understood about crypto? That it is not a get-rich-quick scheme. A lot of people are in this space right now. New investors are here because friends of theirs told them, you might want to get in now. Now's the time to get in if you're going to get into crypto. And they expected the price to continue just going upward. But we've seen how markets change. You know, everything was bullish with Trump being elected as the president. We also have a pro-crypto Congress, pro-crypto SEC, pro-crypto CFTC. The problem is, then he started talking about tariffs. And for some reason, crypto just doesn't like tariffs. However, I think the market is now getting used to it. And I think it's pricing in tariff talk now. Because honestly, I think the market is not only pricing in tariffs, but even Jerome Powell now. Because Powell spoke earlier today, and I expected a much deeper dip on crypto, but it didn't happen. Last time we saw Bitcoin dominance above 64% was in 2021, just before Altseason. I see a lot of different people talking about this. They're expecting a major turnaround on the Bitcoin dominance chart. Once that dominance starts to fall, we will head into Altseason. And yes, there is going to be an Altseason. But I think this Altseason is going to be different because we have so many catalysts that can send the price of XRP even higher. We're still waiting on the ETFs as well. XRP kangaroo is clucking. Analyst expects XRP drop to this support level before rally to $7.50, $13, and $27. So eGreg is now saying expect the market to possibly drop between $1.85 and $1.40 before we finally break out. You know, in the past, we have seen that before, where XRP is on a downtrend and then all of a sudden it reverses and takes off. The same thing can happen again. And I see a lot of people saying, hopefully if that happens, I could back up the truck one last time, buying more XRP. Hey, you got to take advantage of the dips. That's the way I look at it. You pack as much into your bag as you possibly can so that you get the most gains out of Altseason. Fed Chair Jerome Powell says tariffs may have a larger and more persistent impact on inflation than previously expected. You know, this goes in line with what Donald Trump said. He said expect a period of hardship before the golden age happens. Maybe it's hyperinflation of some sort. Maybe it's just rising inflation. But there's going to be pain before we get to the good times. And everybody right now is saying we're either in a recession or headed to a recession. And I just did a video about ICE 9. And if there's going to be a major crash before the rise of a new financial system, I think that's what that crash can look like. All of a sudden, everything goes dark for a few days and there's chaos. And then all of a sudden, they come up with the solution, the new financial system. and XRP, moving the world's money. But he's not going to cut rates, in my opinion, anytime soon. Attention, XRP family, we already have the date for the end of the process. The final term was filed today, April 16, 2025, and has 60 days to come into effect. This will fall on June 12, 2025. The victory date is June 12, 2025. This has to do with Ripple versus SEC. And Fred Rispoli said, I did and still maintain this belief. It should be over before the 60-day deadline for the status report. He's expecting something to happen with the case where it ends before the 60 days is even up. And then he goes on to say this right here. With this order, the next move we'll see is a filing in the district court seeking to modify Judge Torres' order, lifting the injunction and reducing the fine. Right now, everything is just on a pause, waiting for that to happen. And I saw a lot of people saying, great, another pause. Here we go. We're going to have to sit back and wait for more news coming from either Ripple or the SEC. But this still has to go up to a vote. I still think Atkins wants this to happen sooner than later. And does it coincide with this right here? Thanks you so much, James. And you see, he mentioned the pause. So the Federal Reserve banks will announce their go, no-go decision by June 27, 2025. This is for ISO. This is ahead of the scheduled ISO implementation date of July 14, 2025. If they go forward, a 2-week freeze begins immediately. No more changes allowed. If they delay, they give 2 weeks notice so everyone can adjust their plans. So then you see the timeline. Ripple appeal put on pause. That was on April 16th. SEC status update due June 12, 2025. I know he put June 15th in this post, but it's actually June 25th or June 12th. Fed go no decision June 27th, and then ISO July 14th. Is this happening by design? In other words, are they delaying Ripple long enough till everyone gets positioned right before ISO goes live? Because I do believe ISO is going to have a major impact on XRP and the rest of these utility-driven cryptocurrencies. I think everything that we've been watching with this entire Ripple versus SEC case, it was like watching a movie play out. We all knew the ending. We knew what was going to happen once the case comes to an end. But it seemed like it had to be delayed just long enough to get everything in order. And maybe it does coincide with ISO 222. But like I said at the beginning of this video, right now, XRP is holding up very well. I'm just hoping we don't get a delayed crash in crypto because of what happened with the stock market. We seen that happen earlier this month. There was tariff talk. Then the stock market crashed. Everybody was saying Bitcoin finally decoupled from the stock market. Then hours later, Bitcoin came crashing down and took the rest of the space with it. I hope that doesn't happen. I really do believe that the crypto space is now pricing in tariff talk and even things that happen with the Fed, because it doesn't have the impact that it had in the past. Here's where Jerome Powell was talking, and you see the dip, and then all of a sudden we started breaking back upward. So it didn't have that big of an effect. It only dropped the price of XRP by 5 cents. Usually when Jerome Powell talks, we drop like 10 cents, and then it's a gradual upward climb. Now we're rebounding quicker than ever before. And is alt season coming? Absolutely. But until it happens, stay patient, stay positive, and let's get rich together. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.